As of June 2021, rights of nature laws exist in at least 39 countries. These rights of nature are a growing movement that claims our ecosystems, including trees, oceans, animals, and mountains, have rights, just as human beings have rights. According to the Rights of Nature doctrine, an ecosystem is entitled to legal personhood status, and as such has the right to defend itself in a court of law against harms, including environmental degradation caused by a specific development project or even by climate change. I have put 2 links below if you want to read further about this ideology, but you could certainly do a search for it and find out information about it. I have 2 responses to this rights of nature movement. First of all, I am all for being responsible stewards of nature and our natural resources. We are given biblical charge to care for the planet as guardians and overseers. My second response is what an insult this is to the unborn children who are aborted as meaningless lumps of cells, even up to the point of birth in some states. So let's talk about it. As far as my first response, ecology is a matter of ethics, not of personal rights. I admit that we as humans have a long history of unnecessary and tragic destruction of animal and natural resources. But that doesn't mean we owe reparations to nature in the form of granting it personality and personal rights. We don't romanticize nature to the point of projecting our feelings, our thoughts, and personal value to a tree, a river, or even an animal. If we did that, then we'd have to conclude that it may be wrong to use natural resources for shelter, fuel, or even food. In that case, we humans would quickly die off. Instead, God gave us these resources to use for our benefit and survival, but we have to be responsible about it. Ideologically speaking, we Christians are neither Buddhists nor pantheists. God is not all is not God, and nature is not God, and God is not nature. We recognize a separation between nature and divinity. While we admit a tree is a creation of God and a valuable one at that, a tree is, after all, a tree, and not deserving of personal rights or personhood rights. If parts of nature have personal rights, then a doctor may one day be condemned for fighting a plague, since a virus may have rights. Or a scientist could be judged as inhumane for creating medicines, since diseases may have rights. If nature has rights, personal rights, then the earthquake that just decimated vast regions of Turkey and Syria, killing close to 40,000 people, is perhaps to be regarded as behavior within its rights to display and destroy. That's nonsense. Now, this is not to say that nature has no value and that we have a right to exploit it. The idea that animals can be treated cruelly because they're not human is barbaric. And it's just as wrong to claim that we have every right to pollute rivers because they're not human. Instead, our view is that God created the external world, and that gives nature a value in itself. God created it for a purpose and observed that it was good. Nature is not solely utilitarian. It has intrinsic value because God made it. But even though we humans are part of nature and are animals by category, the Bible says that in another sense, we are different from all other nature. We alone are made in the image of God. We're related to nature, but we're also separated from it. We are called to treat nature with integrity, but not with personality. We don't despise it, but we don't exalt it either. We have dominion over nature, but it's not ours to abuse. The earth belongs to God, and we are to rule nature with a view towards His benevolent care. As to my second response about abortion, it is abominable then to treat a tree, river, animal, or mountain as having more worth than an unborn child. The rights of nature movement gives rights to these elements of nature where pro-choice supporters do not give the same rights to an unborn baby. It gives a baby seal more rights than a baby human. And on what grounds is this perspective supported? Such a claim asserts that there are certain fulfillable conditions where it is justified to kill an unborn child, whereas a river has inalienable rights and personhood status that an unborn child doesn't have. It's wrong because it exalts the inorganic over the organic, the unconscious over the conscious, and the non-human over the human. The only possible result is that any human life can be devalued at the whim of one's chosen value system. It degrades us all, and it's wrong.